All right, it's 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central. Trisha, I will let you kick us off.
All right, great. Thanks, Meredith. This is Trisha Roberts. I'm the Director of Membership Services for the Realty Alliance, and we welcome you to this webinar this afternoon. Meredith Oliver has come highly recommended for us, and we hope that this webinar will be beneficial to you and your team. Before we get started, I know Meredith just ran down the instructions on making sure you're mute. Please abide by that. That will help with the distractions in the background. A little intro on Meredith. She's an acclaimed digital marketing strategist. She's president and creative director of Meredith Communications, a published author and a keynote speaker, and over 15 years of experience with creating and delivering digital marketing campaigns. Take it away, Meredith. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Trisha. All right. So, a couple of things that she did not tell you about me, since most of you are new to me. I am the mother of 2 children. Yes, I can hear all your laughter now, even though you're on mute. That's my son, Brady, who is 10 years old, going into the 5th grade in a couple of weeks. And that's my husband, Alan, who is my 2nd child. We lovingly call him that. We've been married 20 years, and that picture was taken at Turks and Caicos. We were celebrating our 20th anniversary just this past May. I am not ashamed. I will admit I have been through a lot of therapy. Retail therapy, that is. You can follow my shoe collection on Instagram. Now, when I do webinars, I do not wear my high heels. I am in flip-flops right now. But when I'm on the road speaking, I'm known for wearing really great shoes, and I take pictures of them all around the country when I travel, and I Instagram them on my Instagram page. So it's a way to make travel fun, because sometimes travel is not as fun as we would like. Oh my, then there's this. So if you weren't sure if I am a marketer at heart, I will share with you my most coveted marketing credential, and that is my resemblance to Flo, the progressive girl. So if I do it for you, see it? Oh yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I am told all the time that I look like Flo, and that is really unfortunate. Yeah. Okay. So this is not all fun and games. We are going to talk about a very serious subject today, but I figured since you guys don't know me and you're just meeting me for the first time, it might be fun to tell you a little about myself. So like Trisha said, I've been doing online marketing in the residential real estate industry for 20 years. Oh my word, how is that possible? I don't even look that old, right? Right. And one of the major changes over that 20-year career has been the rise of online reviews. So the goal of today's webinar, the purpose, the reason you're here, is I want to help you increase leads, increase traffic to your website, increase phone calls, increase actual leads requests through the website. I want to get you more traffic, leads, buyers and sellers, because you have a positive online reputation. And that all begins with online reviews. There's this little thing that Google came up with in 2011 called ZMOT. ZMOT. And it stands for the zero moment of truth. Every one of us, when we go to purchase something, to hire a service, whether we're just in the grocery store shopping for Greek yogurt, or something as important and serious as who's going to represent us in the sale or the purchase of a home, we all hit what Google calls the zero moment of truth, the ZMOT. In the old days, that moment generally happened when we asked friends or family for a referral. Today, that zero moment of truth has changed. And it's changed in a number of ways. And you could probably, if we were talking in person, tell me what those changes are. One of the biggest changes is that moment now happens online before you ever even get to speak to a person. There is a zero moment of truth happening that's deciding, are we going to reach out to this realty company, or are we going to eliminate them completely and not even call, not email, not live chat? We're not going to do anything because of what we're reading about their online reputation. So this zero moment of truth used to happen with friends and family, and it does to some extent, but it now happens online at the very beginning of the funnel instead of more towards the end of their process. So that's a big shift and something for you to think about conceptually as to why we're doing this. The other big change in the zero moment of truth is that it happens on mobile phones. So again, this is not an in-person conversation. This is happening on the go in a split second on people's mobile phone, where they are terribly distracted by notifications of apps, text messages from family and friends, Facebook Instant Messenger from the latest spammer stalker on Facebook. You name it, it's beeping, buzzing, or vibrating on our phones, and it distracts us completely. So we're not even really fully paying attention while this zero moment of truth is going on, which is not great for those of us that are in sales and marketing. Brian Solis is a very well-known customer experience marketing expert. This is his quote: "Welcome to the new era of marketing in which your brand is defined by those who experience it." Your brand is no longer your logo. It's not your color scheme. You know, I know realtors that, for example, I have this one really good friend in Florida who has branded the color purple. Everything he does is purple. Purple shirts, purple car, purple glasses, purple selfie sticks. And when people see him, they wear their purple. He's really branded that color. And what it took off was when people began to engage with his brand, and they would show up to networking events wearing their purple so that he would take a selfie with them, because that's the only way he did his selfies, was you had to wear purple too. And he really knew he was onto something when the title company showed up at a closing and they were all in purple. It just took off. He's a great guy. And the reason it's working is because he delivers exceptional service. It's the experience of hashtag Team Purple that has made the purple take off, not just because it's a great color. So it is the experience that people have with your brand, their customer experience, that defines it. No longer just the graphics or the catchy taglines, just do it. All those fun ones that we've known throughout the years, that's not a brand any longer. So here's what's scary about this. Some of these people who do these online reviews are, well, they're kind of crazy. Have you noticed? I bet you have. And I bet you've probably received a couple of crazy reviews. And the thing is you can't let that stop you from developing a solid, positive online reputation. I have many business owners and real estate agents and home builders that just say, forget it. I'm going to ignore this thing. I'm going to stick my head in the sand. I'm not dealing with it. And unfortunately, that means people like this guy are having conversations without you. People are going to have a conversation about your brand online. Are you in the conversation, having it with them? Or are you out of the conversation and not participating, and they're running amok like this one? This is a review for La Donuts. They are located in Anaheim, California. I really love this place, he says. He gave it 5 stars. I've been going since it opened. I had the hugest crush on the daughter of the owner. Okay, this is getting weird. And I would come in after class when I was in junior high and try to talk to her. But the skate store opened up next door. All of the skaters got to her, and one of them got her pregnant. What? And I never saw her again. Oh yeah, the donuts are good, and they will usually hook you up with a free one to try. Are you kidding me? Are you serious with this? Yeah, okay. Hello, this is who you're selling houses to these days or representing buyers for. Awesome, right? This next online review, this experience is a dining experience, and it was going great. I mean, the food was fresh. The drinks were tasty. There was just one small problem. Yeah, I got stabbed here. Yeah. Okay, so they gave it 3 stars. Hello. I got stabbed here. The food was fresh. The drinks were tasty, but I got stabbed. Would consider going back. What, they didn't hit an artery? So you're going to go back? I don't know. That's bizarre. And last but not least, should you ever decide to turn to a life of crime? Good news, Yelp has reviews for jail. Yes, you could decide where you want to commit this crime by which jail you want to be taken to. Apparently, Alameda County Santa Rita Jail is the best. It's got 31 check-ins and 5 stars. As far as jails go, this is the creme de la creme. First off, you don't even need a ride here. They pick you up from anywhere in the county. Sometimes they even get you out of bed and bring you, and it's all free of charge. Oh my word. Okay, so all kidding aside, I know that sounds all kind of crazy, but the truth is that these online reviews are important to your business. And yes, there's a lot of silliness that goes on, but there's a lot of good we can do as well. So let's talk about, first of all, what are some of the most common review platforms for realtors, brokers alike, and what is the background on each one? Okay, so number 1, of course, Zillow. How many of you are participating on Zillow? That's a very important one. Accounts for 14% of all the real estate related web traffic. So we know it's the big giant out there, and definitely a platform for you to consider marketing yourself on and for you to consider building up positive reviews. Of course, Trulia would be next. Of course, they've combined with each other, but definitely want to consider those two. Okay, next up is Yelp. Okay, I personally have a love-hate relationship with Yelp. I use it to find restaurants and read reviews, especially when I'm traveling and I'm trying to figure out where I want to eat. But as a business owner, as an advertiser, Yelp is hard to work with and has very strict guidelines and policies about online reviews. We'll talk more about that. But it is one of the most popular review sites out there. And for all of those Apple users out there, which I am one of, the Map app, the native Apple app, Map app, oh, say that 5 times fast, on the phone. If you're not using the Google Map app, if you're using the Apple version, Yelp powers those listings. So if you want to come up, and I always use the Apple Map app because I prefer it to the Google app. And when I do a search in there for hairdressers, nail salons, whatever I'm trying to navigate towards, Yelp is the one that's going to come up. Okay, Google. Google, of course, Google reviews are important. The most popular search site for local business listings. Okay, of course, it powers Google Maps. So it's incredibly powerful for anybody that's using a phone or a computer for Google Maps. Of course, then there's Facebook. That's another one. Facebook is a powerful platform for the average user. Most social media users are using Facebook. Younger folks, the millennials, are not on Facebook as heavily. They're more on Instagram these days. But I would say anybody 25 to 30-ish and up, they're using Facebook. And you'd be surprised at the retire baby boom generation, 55, 60, 65, they're all very heavy Facebook users as well. So there's not a ceiling on the ages. I don't want to leave out LinkedIn. You might not think of LinkedIn as a review site, but depending on the reason why, we're going to talk more about that in a minute, that you are building up your online reputation. If you're wanting to really build your career and further your career, then the reviews and recommendations that you can get on LinkedIn can be very powerful for that. So just don't forget about LinkedIn. I tend to, so I have to put this on here to remind myself, because LinkedIn doesn't have all the fun cat videos and vacation pictures and all the craziness that goes on Facebook. So sometimes I forget to check it. And you really should pay more attention to it because it's very powerful for developing relationships with other professionals. And lastly, of course, we don't want to leave out Realtor.com, third most popular real estate portal, has some integrations with LinkedIn. And so that can be a really good site for you. So what I'm going to do is go over several strategies today. And each one of these is designed to help you improve your online reputation and improve your online reviews. So one of the things I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to go out on my slideshow to do this, I'm going to launch the first poll. And I want you to go ahead and vote on this. Okay, go ahead, start voting. How effectively are you managing and optimizing online reviews? Number one, we pretend the internet does not exist and use stone tablets to communicate. Number two, we have a few good and a few bad, mostly by accident. Number three, we have more good than bad, but we don't consistently ask. It looks like that one's in the lead. We are online review rock stars. We ask every customer and respond to every review. Wow, we're actually getting some of those. I'm so impressed with you guys. Okay, so right now we are still in the lead with, we have more good than bad, but we don't consistently ask. Okay. I'm going to let you keep on going here for a few seconds, get a few more in. Looks like everybody's kind of got their vote in. So we're at 75%. We have more good than bad. So I'm going to end the poll and hit share results so that you guys can see them. Yeah, so most of you ended up here, 75%. We had a couple that we have a few good, few bad, mostly by accident. And we've got a few of you that are rock stars. Wow. Okay. I hope that I have information that will help you today. That's very impressive. So my first strategy for you is limit your focus and dominate. So I am here today to give you MGS, to absolve you, not give it to you, absolve you of MGS. That's marketing guilt syndrome. Marketing guilt syndrome. I here absolve you of it. Yay. And the reason I'm doing that is because you can't do it all. You can't. And if you, unless you are very tech savvy and you're willing to really pay to have people help you to do it. But if you're doing this grassroots, if you're doing this DIY, then you're going to need to limit your focus and dominate. And what I mean by this is determine your goals and your outcomes for why you want to improve your online reputation. So number one, are you suffering, first check mark, from negative reviews? Do you feel like there's some out there, it's hurting your business and you're really concerned about that? And you should be. If that is your concern, then I would limit and focus on Google, Yelp, and Facebook. Those are the most customer facing, the heaviest visited, the ones that really matter in terms of where people go to get reviews. If you feel like we have a pretty good online reputation, like on Facebook, we've already got 40 reviews and we average nearly 5 stars, a 4 point whatever. So you're doing pretty good on that one. Then maybe what you want to focus on next is improving your search engine optimization. In other words, helping your site to come up in the Google search results. And so in that case, you want to focus on getting more Google reviews. Okay, let's say you're wanting to do customer visibility. You want more leads. Then I would look at Zillow, Facebook, Yelp. As I mentioned earlier, let's say you're trying to develop your career. Then I would look at LinkedIn. And I've got another here, generate leads. Another way of looking at it, Zillow, TrolliaRolder.com. So what I'm saying here is, unless you have a very healthy budget and you're willing to hire people, hire a reputation management firm to help you. If you're going to do this internally, do it yourself. I tell people this with social media as well. Pick a lane and dominate. And generally, one of the best ways to do that is by figuring out what do you want to get out of it. Now, most of you would say, I want all of this. I want a great online reputation. I want more leads. I want to come up in the search results. Okay, guess what then? You're going to need to optimize your online reputation on all of these sites. Seems like it would be easier to pick a lane, dominate on 1 or 2 of these, get that going in a way that's really strong and really consistent, and then add on another one, and then add on another one, and do it that way. That seems a lot less overwhelming to me. Okay, so my recommendation to you, select 2 or 3 review sites based on your goals. Focus your time and energy. Number 1, have you claimed your business listing? Seems like most of you are pretty advanced, so I'm going to assume that's a yes. Have you completely and thoroughly optimized your profile on Yelp or on Google in Google Business Manager? Google My Business, GMB, Google My Business, is the newest iteration of Google's local business search admin tool. It at one time was called Google Places, it was Google Plus, it was Google Maps. It's been all of these things throughout the years, and most recently, it's Google My Business. So if you already have a local listing with Google, then you probably have a Google My Business. You need to get in and thoroughly optimize that. That's a whole nother topic. We'll do that another day, but make sure if you're going to put yourself out there on these review sites that just quickly, for example, your phone number is correct, your office hours are correct, your address is correct, you've loaded some photos, you've taken the time to thoroughly complete the listing and make it as professional as possible. Of course, you want to post consistently and you want to respond to every review, and we will talk more about that in just a few minutes. Okay, I am moving on to strategy number 2. So strategy number 1, pick a lane, pick 1 or 2 review sites, maybe 3, depending on your time and resources, and dominate them. Okay, number 2 is, if you want to amass a quantity of reviews, positive ones, then you have got to ask every customer to do a review for you. And they will not remember the first time you ask them. You'll have to develop a follow-up system. Okay, don't leave this to chance. You will want to develop a review process. Okay, this is going to be something you're going to determine for your office, how you want to handle this. And you're going to want to define things such as who is going to make that initial contact. I would think it would be the agent working with their buyer or their seller, but we have to be clear that who is going to be asking. And defining that. Okay, then you're going to want to define when are they going to make the ask. I will talk more about that in a minute. I have a couple recommendations for you. How are they going to do it? Are they going to do it verbally? You're going to send an email? You're going to send a text message? You know, what are you going to do? I'll have recommendations for that. And then what are you going to ask for? And how are you going to ask them? So there's quite a number of steps here. And until you formalize it and actually have a strategy, you won't make the effort. You have to make an effort. Getting online reviews isn't easy. Boo, right? I wish it was. And so that's why you need a process. And the agents that have really developed a consistent process where they are asking everyone, they have a time system, they have a way of doing the follow-up. Those are the folks that generally are successful with this. Okay, so here are some suggestions on ways that you can ask and ways that you can help remember to ask. Number one is I would ask early and upfront, and once you get to closing, it's not the first time, so that when you get to closing, it's not the first time that you're bringing it up. Okay. So I would, at closing, I would have a postcard for the agent to hand to the person that has information about asking for a review and an easy link that they could follow to where they could leave one for you. And that's where you're kind of guiding them, a link to your Google, a link to your Yelp page, a link to your Facebook page, what have you. So that's one way to do it, to reinforce it. You can also include it in signage. So if you have an office, you can have signage up at the desk as people come in. You could have window clings, tabletops, whatever you think, but definitely include this in the signage. We would be honored for you to leave us a review and put the icons of the various social media sites. Every agent should have it in their email signature. Think about how many times an agent emails a buyer or a seller throughout the process. And if it was in the email signature every time, we would be honored if you would leave a review about your experience working with me with a link. They've seen that over and over and over and over again. So when the agent goes to ask that person and say, I would be honored at the end, at the closing, if they ask them, it's not the first time they're hearing about it, and it's been in that email over and over again. Auto response emails are a great way to follow up, and I'll talk more about that in just a minute. If you do any kind of email marketing where you're sending out a monthly newsletter or email blast to your database, that should be in the template that you're sending out with the links to your review sites. And of course, your agents will need to do one-on-one follow-up emails where they follow up individually and say, hey, it was great working with you. It's been a few days. I hope you're all settled into your new home. I would be honored if you would share your experience of working with me with others. Okay, I see that questions come in, so let me peek over here and read it. Wendy asks, we have 22 local offices. Would you recommend that we focus on the corporate office first or try to do all of them, particularly when you're optimizing profiles? Yeah, that's a big, very frequently asked question. I would start with a corporate profile. I would start with that and build that up. I think trying to manage 22 multiple profiles could be way overwhelming and would be a lot and hard to manage. So yeah, I would say the corporate office first. I think you're right on the target with that. So keep the questions coming in. Okay, next recommendation is if you really want to do this well, and do this where you get your numbers up, then you're going to have to automate some of it. And there are review I'll call it a review CRM system, for lack of a better term, review software that helps you automate and helps you make it where you can follow up multiple times. Oops, sorry about that. Went to the wrong one. I have assembled here a list of review platforms. I am not affiliated with any of these. I did a Google search, as well as I know some of our clients use different ones, but there's no link to me in any of these in any way. These are ones simply that have the type of automation that I'm looking for. So the way these work, it's kind of like your typical CRM. When somebody becomes a client, except with this process, it would go in at closing. And once they become a client, they go into this review CRM. The CRM sends out the request for review on a timed schedule. And it could send out several of them. And it does the follow-up for you. So that's pretty incredible. So we'll do a little quick screen share. Hang on one second. Okay, sorry about that. So here's a quick screen share. Let me make sure you can see this. Share screen, share desktop, share. Okay, so here, you should be able to see this. So this is agent reputation, okay? And this is how it works. You load all of your customers in here. You can either import them, the spreadsheet, or you can add them in one by one. And then they go into this drip system where they start requesting reviews, where this system will request a review for you and provide links to your various review sites. This, without a doubt, any of these, and I'm not trying to just tout this one. Again, I don't have an affiliation with them, but this reputation online review CRM is absolutely necessary if you want to get really serious about asking everybody and doing multiple follow-ups. All right, I see somebody's got their hands up. Let's see, I got a chat. Okay, Listen 360 is a fantastic tool for this as well. Charlie recommends Listen 360. Let's see, let's put that one up. And if anybody else has another recommendation, feel free to put it in the chat box or put it in under Q&A. That's fine. But here we go. So a better way to close the loop with your customers, get instant feedback. And typically, the way that these work, you can request a review. How likely are you to recommend this business? And when they request it, these systems, like, they have this down, so they know what to do. It will be a very short email, like a one sentence, literally like this. Ask them to give a ranking. And once they do, the system then funnels them and says, okay, great. You gave us a 10. We are so honored. Thank you so much. Please share your experience with others. And it'll send out that email. And if the email, if they give you a 2, then typically they'll send a, oh, we are so sorry email, but they won't share all the review platform links with them. Now, I was just at an online reputation big summit meeting in Seattle. I'm in North Carolina. I live in North Carolina, but I was in one in Seattle. And one of the top experts there was saying that the review sites are starting to frown a bit when you do the parsing of so if they give you a 2, they don't get the email with the review site, with the review links. But I haven't seen anything negative out of it yet. So I think for now we can do that, but there may be a point at which they catch on and you can't do it that way. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, let's see. We've got another chat that came in. Okay, Michael says, we just started using Social Survey a few months back. It's fantastic. Brought our Google reviews up quickly. Okay, Social Survey. I don't know what the website is. We'll see if we can find this here. Here we go. Social Survey right here. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. All right, so here's another one. So now you guys have several of these to choose from. Personally, I feel like having some kind of reputation management on this is absolutely essential. Some kind of automation tool. I don't think you can get serious about this without it, to be honest. You just won't have enough reviews. Okay, now, since it appears that some of you already have that much in place, let's talk about the ask. Yeah, that's with a K. Okay, please do not beg people for a review. It's irritating. The local Walgreens near me is a wonderful employee there. I'll use a different name than her real name. Let's say it's Susan. And God bless her. I mean, she's a wonderful lady, but every time I walk in there, first of all, she screams halfway across the store. And sometimes in Walgreens, you're buying stuff you don't really want everyone to see you buying. And so she's like, hi, welcome to Walgreens. It's just a lot. Then when she checks you out, she gets the big long receipt, the one that's like this long. And at the bottom, she's like, now, if you don't give me a 10, I'm going to lose my job. And we won't get that pizza party. And that's really what we want. We want a pizza party. So you got to do the survey and give me a 10. And it's like, whoa, okay? Don't beg people. Please tell your agents, don't say, and if you don't give me a 10, I mean, I've been to hotels that have done this at the front desk. I've been to car dealerships that have done this. It's poor form. So, and it kind of, with people like me, has the opposite effect. So you don't want to do that. The next thing though, is make sure you can absolutely ask for the review. You absolutely should be talking throughout the entire process, training your agents to use the term, share your experience. So we don't want to ask for a rating. We don't want to say, give me a 10 or I'll lose my job. Can you please give me a review? All of that's annoying. Instead, we want to say, share your experience. We pride ourselves on providing the very best to our buyers and sellers, representation possible to our buyers and sellers. We strive for a gold standard. And if that's been your experience, would you please take a moment and share it? So that's critical. Train your agents to ask, mention that there will be a survey or review opportunity at the end. So at the very beginning of engaging with a new buyer or seller, tell them to start seeding it now. But don't start by saying, at the end, you're going to have an opportunity to rate me, and I hope it's going to be a 10, because if it's not, I'm going to lose my job. Instead, mention early on, and at the end of this process, we will have a survey and an opportunity for you to provide us feedback. We strive for a 10 or a gold service, a platinum standard of service, and we want to achieve that. And then, as I mentioned, having it in the email signature. So this way, through the whole process, you are training this person to give you that review. A lot of you, the reason you're not getting them is you're waiting until the end. And at the end, the person, it's the first time they're hearing of it. They've got moving on the brain. They have a house full of stuff sitting in a truck in the parking lot, and it's not a good time to think about it. So ask often and early, mention it throughout the process. Don't zip your lip like this lady on the screen. Get out there and start talking about it, but share your experience is the key. The other thing is train your agents to check in regularly. I think part of this is we forget to check in and just say, how are we doing so far? Are we meeting your expectations? We don't have to be afraid of online reviews if we're regularly checking in and providing and troubleshooting. If there's a problem coming up, we're working on it and they know we're working on it. Are you going to create a raving fan out of every single transaction? No. Some transactions are going to go horribly wrong. And it's weird how the one that starts off with one wrong thing, that's the one that like 2 and 3 and 5 more wrong things all seem to happen to. I don't know why. It's like all happens to the same person. Yeah, I've been there. I know. But let's say that's an exception to the rule. The rest of the time, you really do have an opportunity to deliver fabulous service and to make it right, and you don't know it unless you're checking in. So I'm just checking in. How are we doing so far? That is critically important. If you mention share your experience early in the engagement, remind often, do regular check-ins, this person is going to feel well taken care of no matter what challenges or obstacles come along throughout the transaction. They are going to feel like you care. And when you do that, you'll get a great review, even if it doesn't go perfectly. Okay, so now we're to closing. How are we going to handle this? At the closing, go ahead, verbally mention and get a verbal confirmation. You'll be getting an opportunity to share your experience with us in the next couple of days. Would really appreciate it if you would take the time to do that. Will that work for you? Something as simple as gaining agreement and getting a verbal definitely increases your chances of them actually doing it when the email goes out. You could send it same day, although as I said, people do kind of have moving on the brain. So you might want to wait and send it a few days later. And then you might even send another follow-up a month later. So just time it out. I would do up to 3 follow-ups. And that's why those automated systems are so awesome, because they will do all that for you. And that's how you're going to get them to go up. But don't just rely on this automation. I'm telling you, it takes both the personal agent talking to them about that, building that bond and that relationship, and then the automation. Because some of you have this automation piece and you're like, we still aren't getting anybody to do it. Yeah, that's because you're not working the human side of it. It takes both. And it may even take then that agent following up personally with a non-automated email to actually get the review and to make it happen. Okay, a couple of really cool tools I wanted to provide you today, and tips on actually getting people to do the reviews. Number one tip is, in that automated email that's going out, provide a sample or an example. So take one of the reviews you've gotten, keep it short, 2-3 sentences max. Put that in italics, in quotes. Here's a sample. That kind of helps people know, because some people, they're just not great at writing something and they feel like, I don't know what I would say. I don't, writing is not their strong skill set. So examples, sample reviews. Okay, next. This is a tool by a company called Whitespark. This is who I heard speak at the summit that I was at. I heard Darren, who's one of the executives for Whitespark, and he mentioned a couple of these tools. I thought these were really cool. So this tool right here will help you create, and I'm going to just click on it and go to it, a Google review link generator. Okay, so this free tool easily helps find your business and creates a unique Google review link. It used to be that you had a Google business page and you knew the address to it. I still found those really hard to find, but it's even worse now. So if you want people to give you Google reviews, this review link generator will help you. So you find your business on the map, and it generates this link for you. And then this is the link that you would put on the postcard that I mentioned that you can hand people. This is the link you would put in the automated emails when you send them out. You would use this link consistently all the time for the Google reviews. And it's just fabulous, really easy to use. You can track analytics, etc. Love that. Okay. Also right here, step-by-step directions. Aha. Some people are not as technically savvy as other folks. So WhiteSpark has a review handout generator, okay, where it will teach people printable instructions on how to leave a Google review because it's hard. So this will create a little one-page instruction sheet for you. And again, this is something you could email or hand people. So I thought that was kind of handy and it might be good. Lastly, don't know if you realize this. Oops, let me do this. Okay, this, oh, I don't want to do that. Stop it. Cooperate, please. Okay, this is a website, Small Thanks with Google. Let me get it pulled up here. I don't know if you know this, but Google will actually provide you free business marketing materials that turn your review and business information into ready-use social posts, stickers, posters, and more. So here, you can create these templates and then print them out, and this is all free. So this is Small Thanks with Google. If you Google that, you can find the site. I've also put the link in the PowerPoint deck so that you can find it. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So that's another tool to help you. So don't overwhelm people. Don't ask them to leave reviews on 5 different sites. Keep it limited to 1 or 2 sites and make it easy for them with an easy to find link, creating a short link, give them directions, give them a sample, and maybe some of these Small Thanks with Google tools might be helpful to you too. Okay, strategy number 4. You're not gonna like this one, but you gotta do it. No matter what, whether it's positive or negative, you must respond to every review. And here's why. It creates a relationship. It shows the future people who are having their 0 moment of truth, as Google calls it, when they start looking down the reviews and they see that you are responsive, that you reply back in a professional, positive manner, in a timely manner, that in and of itself says as much about you as the actual reviews themselves say. Think about your own experience. The last time you were trying to pick a hotel for your family vacation or a product on Amazon, and you read down those reviews, and you might have even read some negative ones, but you saw that the product or service in question had a really professional response. Did it sway you? Of course it did. So the definitive authority on how to respond to reviews is a friend of mine by the name of Jay Baer, B-A-E-R. His book, Hug Your Haters, is a New York Times best-selling book. And if you want to learn a process to respond to negative reviews, Jay's got it locked down. This is an easy to read book. You could read this in a few hours. It's not a hard read. It's filled with data and case studies of some of the biggest brands in the world. So it's very well researched. So he can prove it to you. And one of his famous quotes in this book is, haters are not your problem. Ignoring them is. And isn't that the truth? I've included a link here if you want to pick it up so that you can find it easily on Amazon. But he will walk you through how to handle negative reviews better than anybody I know. Quickly, what I can tell you about that is, like I said, number 1, you have to respond to them all, positive and negative. You have to respond in a quickly and in a timely manner. Okay. So again, this goes back to what is your review process in your office? Do you have somebody assigned to this that is monitoring that dashboard of the various sites you're focusing on and making sure that they're on top of when reviews come in? Jay, in his book, states very emphatically that with a negative review, you only respond 2 times. In other words, he does not want you to get into a back and forth with somebody on a review platform in a negative conversation. Your whole goal, the next bullet point, is to move the conversation offline. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for alerting us. We would like to discuss this with you further. Here's our manager's cell phone number, or here is an email address. And you try to move that from talking on the platform to an offline conversation. Let's say the negative Nelly comes back one more time and they write something else, and they respond to your very professional, polite response. That's where I'm saying you only respond back one more time, 2 times total, then you stop. Because we do not want to get in a back and forth. You read the book, it'll help you go into more detail and tell you exactly how to word that, but that's important. Okay, so whatever you do, stay professional. I know it can be hard, but it's really important that, oh, sorry, it keeps clicking on me there. You have to stay professional, take a deep breath, stay calm, try to move it offline. Don't get too emotional when you're responding. Don't take it personally, although I'm sure it feels very personal to you. Don't take it too personally. Don't attack the reviewer, whatever you do. So just try to stay calm as much as you can. Okay, and then number 5, then we're going to wrap it up here, and I'll have another poll for you, and I'll have time for some question and answer. Strategy number 5, don't break the rules. Okay, this is important. There are some big don'ts when it comes to online reviews. Do not pay for reviews. If some reputation management company out there tells you that they can get you 200 reviews for $59, A, if it's too good to be true, B, it probably is. So that's not even realistic. So don't pay for reviews. Don't incentivize for reviews. It is absolutely against the rule of all of the review sites. If they find out somehow, I don't know how they would know, but if they find out that you've given out gift cards to Starbucks or movie passes or Visa cards or whatever, they will take those reviews down. Absolutely will take them down, and then you will have spent all that time and money for nothing. Don't review your own business. I know it's so tempting to pose as a buyer or a seller and put your own reviews out there, but that is a definite no. Don't pay people to pose as your customers. Again, tempting, don't do it. This is new. This one's new to me. This is something I learned at the summit. Don't set up a kiosk in your business. What? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reputation management companies that will sell you an iPad or some type of tablet with review software on it and say, here, set this up in your lobby. Problem is when Yelp or Google, particularly those two, see reviews coming in from the same IP, Internet Protocol address, that's the string of numbers that identifies the location of your internet connection, they think that it's spam. They filter them out and they block them and they won't post them. So unfortunately, that won't work for you. Don't negatively review your competitors. That's bad form. And most importantly, don't ignore the guidelines for each review platform. Yelp is the strictest. As I said earlier, it's sort of the bane of the existence there, but it's a pretty popular site, so it's a struggle. But they particularly have the most stringent guidelines. They also are known for not showing your reviews unless you're a paying advertiser, and that's not cool. So I have a lot of issues with Yelp, but at the same time, I understand its reach and popularity. So, but if you're going, when we talked at the beginning about having a strategy, focusing on a couple of sites and really dominating them, one of the first things you should do then is review their guidelines and make sure that what you're doing falls within that. I would sure hate for all of your hard work to result in still no reviews because they wouldn't publish them because you violated some guideline. Okay, so now we're to the next step and are coming towards the end here. And I'm going to launch our next poll. Okay, or our last one. And I'm going to ask you, what's your next step? Like, what do you think you need to do next? Do you need to determine what your goals are and select review sites? Do you need to develop a review process and figure out what are your focus sites going to be? Do you need to really get more proactive about asking and following up, or be more consistent responding to every review? And maybe it's even something else that you want to write in the chat box or fill in the Q&A. So I'll give you a couple seconds to finish filling that out while I get a little bit of water here. Well, we're kind of all over here. Right now we've got 2 tied. I'll give it another couple seconds. Anybody else want to get a vote in? Okay, I don't see any more. Oh, there's a couple. All right, go ahead. I'll let you finish up here. All right, I'm going to end the poll and hit share results so that you can see them. So as you can see, we have a dead tie. I don't think that's ever happened on one of these before. We had 4 say determine your goals and select review sites to focus on. 4 of you develop a review process. 4 of you become more proactive, and 4 be more consistent. Let me see. Got one coming in on chat. Okay, Bree is saying, I'd like to set up a process for responding to company reviews. Yeah, you do. You're going to need a process for that. So, all right, let me hit stop sharing. All right, so as with anything, when you attend an educational opportunity, you have to figure out and take action steps, or it's not a great use of your time. So I encourage you to figure out what is your next step. I encourage you to block off some calendar time in the next, say, 30 days to address that step proactively. If you don't block the time out ahead of time, it just won't happen. I promised you that you would have access to everything that was in this webinar today. So this is the link. You can take a picture of this, but you will also receive an email with this link in it. At this link, you will have access to the slides. All of the links, so all of those review CRM platforms, the White Spark links, the Small Thanks with Google link, all of those links are posted. So you will be able to access everything I talked about here. Okay, so I encourage you, as we wrap up here, and I'll take some questions, pull back the curtain of your business and really get to know your customers, find out how and why they love you, talk to them early and often about sharing their experience, develop that process, automate it, and you can grow your online reputation in a positive way and in a way that will bring you more traffic, leads, and sales to your business. All right, do we have any Q&A questions? before we wrap it up for today? I don't see any. I don't see any chats coming in. Well, it's just been a pleasure. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Trisha, for the opportunity to talk to you all. It was wonderful to virtually meet you. I hope that you found value in the session today. I certainly enjoyed teaching it. And be on the lookout for that follow-up email with the link to all the resources. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.